Hello and a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheikh. Thank you so much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, private hospital chain operator Max Healthcare has raised about 1,200 crore rupees through its qualified institutional placement. Now, this rounds for participation from both global as well as domestic investors. Now, Max Healthcare will be using these funds to meet capex as well as working capital requirements, expansion of capacity, as well as for increasing stake in existing as well as future subsidiaries. Well, moving on to the second headline of the day, Oyo Hotels and Homes has received a term loan of $200 million from SoftBank to scale and accelerate innovation across Oyo's core capabilities. Now, this includes proprietary technology, revenue management suite, as well as data analytics. Interestingly, founder and group CEO of Oyo, Rukesh Agarwal, had said that 2021 will be a year of Oyo's resurgence. Well, cloud native security provider Aqua Security Software has become the latest startup to join the Unicorn Club. Now, this comes after the company recently raised a round of $135 million in Series E funding. Now, Aqua Security has raised about $265 million in funding since inception. Well, oncology tech startup Forbase Care has raised about $2 million in a pre-series A funding from GrowX Ventures as well as Season 2 Ventures among others. Now, this oncology startup will be using this funding to expand its genomic test portfolio as well as to increase its geographical presence across Asia.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who has been in the news of late. I have with me Nitin Jain, who's joining us from Edelweiss Wealth Management. Thank you very much for being a part of Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about your new fund, the Edelweiss Crossover Opportunities Fund. What is the corpus? I believe it's a big corpus. And in terms of what the allocation is likely to be, give us some perspective on the same.
So, Priya, first of all, thank you for having me. We are looking to raise around a $700 million fund. This is a third fund in this series. So we think the opportunity has just expanded dramatically and hence the size of this fund. From an allocation point of view, I think it's a sector agnostic fund. And from a purely risk management point of view, we will ensure that none of the specific sectors exceed more than 30-35%, and none of the specific companies exceed 20-25%.
In terms of what the motive of the fund is, I understand that you're targeting the pre-IPO stage for the fund. So what has been the thought process behind this, considering that things are looking up as we speak in 2021?
Actually, Priya, we have been surprised by the way the economy has bounced back, right? I think I must give you some data point which has been quite remarkable this year. If you just look at the earnings at a Nifty level, right? We think that FY21 earnings will be close to 500, which is practically a 15% earnings growth over last year. And our next year earnings estimate are actually 650 or 650 odd. And we are constantly looking to revise that upwards, which is practically 25 to 27% earnings growth over a 15% earnings growth this year. The point that I'm trying to make is I have not seen this kind of a business momentum for a long time. Maybe for more than a decade, we have not seen this kind of earnings growth. So the business cycle has come back. It's as if we were waiting for this kind of a crisis to happen for the economy to take off. So I think many opportunities are emerging, right? So markets are at an all-time high, and we feel that participating in markets at these kind of valuations looks slightly tricky, given the margin of safety is much lesser. And we think our fund crossover, which is basically a period where the companies transition from private to public, at this point is a very opportune time for this kind of a fund, because the valuation gap between the private companies and the public companies is actually at an all-time high. Just look at the prices at which the companies are IPOing and the prices at which the companies are getting listed. The differential is 40 to 50%. So what we are trying to do is trying to capture this value premium. So get into the companies 1.5 year before they get listed, and get out of the companies once that value is captured, and allow the companies to make this transition. So that's the idea of the crossover.
When you look forward in 2021, are you specifically looking at certain sectors? Because there are some sunrise sectors that investors have called out, saying, these are certain sectors that they would like to allocate, funds towards. So for you, have you identified three or four hot sectors that you'd like to bet on?
Actually, Priya, as I said, we are very sector agnostic in this fund. What we are really focused on is to find great companies which are market leaders in their specific sectors. I think if I have to give an example of sectors that we really like, technology is definitely one sector where we are always excited. Consumer is one sector that we really like. Having said that, there are other opportunities that we will not hesitate to go in if we think that the companies are doing something which is different. Companies are doing something where the business model is innovative and they're creating something interesting from a customer point of view. The companies that we might avoid, sectors that we might avoid, might be sectors which are very capital intensive. We just don't find that those sectors really create tremendous value for investors, at least in India. And we will wait and watch for those kind of sectors to evolve. But outside of those very capital intensive sectors, I think we are open to most sectors, as long as they have a differentiated business model and are creating some kind of market leadership.
Out of the $700 million, are you expecting to, perhaps expand this fund at some point, considering that, a lot of funds have kept that option open because of the good kind of market appetite that's out there?
So, Priya, the whole idea is unlike a lot of private equity funds, which are generally 10-year funds, right? The fund duration is only 5 years. So this is how this fund is actually very, very different from a lot of other private equity funds. So the beauty of this fund is that we can actually deploy this $700 million in next 2.5 years, and we can go for a second series of a similar fund as early as 2 years down the line. So there's no need to actually raise or keep the fund open. We can actually raise more money in the next series very quickly 2 years down the line.
What's your perception on valuations, considering that you will be looking at investing in companies which perhaps may have higher valuations, specifically if they're at a pre-IPO stage? So, what kind of strategy will you implement out there?
So Priya, as I said, I think valuation is very contextual, right? I do agree with you. I think the valuation in the public markets right now is definitely stretched, but it's not stretched disproportionately. I would say it's 10-15% higher than what I would have liked, frankly. And given the kind of earnings upgrade that we are seeing, I will not be surprised if this keeps on getting stretched even further. And that's why the idea of this entire fund, because when we see where the valuations are in the private market, Priya, they don't seem illogical. I mean, just to give you an example, we have done a IPO of a company, Burger King. I think the company, the market cap at the time of listing was 2,500 crore, but the company got listed at around 5,000 crores. So you see the gap between the pricing at which the private companies are listed or are traded, and where the public markets are getting traded. So the euphoria is definitely much more in the public markets than the private markets. And we feel that there are very interesting opportunities in the private market space.
What's your perspective on the exit scenario? We are seeing a lot of exits also play out at this point in time, considering that valuations are much better and investors are getting better returns at this point in time. What is your perspective on this?
No, absolutely. Absolutely, Priya. So see, the whole idea of a late stage private equity pre-IPO is where we have clear visibility on the exit. So when we are looking to invest in our fund, we start from an exit. Unlike a lot of other private equity strategies where you don't start to think about an exit unless you are invested for 3-4 years, here the idea actually only enters into our fund once we have a complete clarity on the exit strategy. The second point I would make is, Priya, as you rightly said, the market or the private equity market in India has really, really evolved in the last few years. What we are seeing is people are getting great exits, not only through public markets, through secondary transactions, through funds like ours. And generally, I think the activity has picked up dramatically.
I want to ask you one final question before I let you go in terms of what the future outlook is in terms of new funds, anything that you're working on at Edelweiss that we can keep an eye out for. Because as we speak, there is a lot of money in the market, lots of cash chasing startups at this point in time. So, what is the kind of pipeline in terms of new funds, new opportunities that we can expect from Edelweiss?
I think, Priya, the most exciting space from an asset management point of view for us is alternatives. And I think on the last 5-6 years, we have seen how the mutual fund industry has grown disproportionately, right? And I think this trend will now play itself out in the alternatives asset management. Private equity is one part of that big mega trend. We think whether it is hedge funds, private equity, private debt, or real assets, all four of them, which is basically the entire alternate asset management, we will see massive growth in all these four categories. As Edelweiss Wealth Management, you will see us play a major role in the private equity space. Our big play, of course, is the late stage private equity and the pre-IPO funds. The second big play for us would be the hedge fund space. That's again a very interesting play, Priya, because globally it's a very large asset class. In US, you have around $3.5 trillion of assets under management in hedge funds. In China, you have around $600 billion of assets under management in hedge fund category. In India, you hardly have around maybe $1.5-2 billion of assets in hedge funds. But I think this category is just bound to take off, and we are hoping that we will be one of the catalysts in that category as well.
Well, we hope so too. And on that note, many thanks for joining us on this very insightful conversation. It's been a pleasure having you with us on the Daily Dispatch. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much, Priya. Thank you.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Many thanks for joining us on this edition of Daily Dispatch. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and stay safe.